Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage none other than the DFJR. Alright, I'm kidding. What got me into music? That's a hard question because a lot of things, factored in when it came to music. For instance, my grandmother is a musician, my father is a musician, my mother, she's a singer. And just being around that, growing up, my grandmother was over the kids' choir and all of that, and she would direct the choir, teach us songs, rehearsals, all of that, put on plays. It was real fun. But I can always remember watching her on the piano, what she would do, and just, gaining an ear and an understanding for music. My mom, she would sing, so I would hear her sing some things and I just vibe out to what she would sing. And my father, he's a musician, but he's a percussionist, and he was in marching band. He was in the band when he was in college and all of that, and in school. And he tells me all the time that when I was 18 months or something, I don't know, but very young, he would do a rhythm and I would do it back. And so it's been in me. What people say, it's in me, not on me. It's been in me. But when I started to take it seriously and all of that, and what got me into it growing up, it's just because it was everywhere I looked, and my dad would always play old school music, so it really didn't matter where I was or what was going on. Either music was in my head, or I used to get in trouble a lot for beating my pencils and my chest and all of that in class. I got whoopings for that. But hey, music is my life. And so, yeah, just the life experiences from my parents, family, them keeping me in the environment of it. That's just what really got me into it and kept me stuck in that thing. And yeah, music is life. Did I answer that? Did it correctly? Okay. Do I only make Christian music? The answer is no. Now, for me to say that is crazy because ask me this question years ago, my answer would have been, yes, that's all I make. But I have understood that, number one, God gave me this gift, and I'm going to use it any way that I can, and I'm not going to put myself into a box, and I'm also not going to allow people to put me in a box, and there's nothing wrong with being an artist who does things outside of Christian music as well. You're going to get inspiration, you're going to get R&B, you're going to get soul, you might get hip-hop, rap. Daryl raps? He does. Y'all just haven't seen it. DFJR raps? He does. You just haven't seen it. But, I don't want to be just in one genre. I just don't want to be in just one environment. I was talking with a friend recently this week. He was like, I see you being genreless. And that really hit me because I do not want to be trapped in a box. I do not want to be just known as a Christian artist or a gospel artist. No. I have all these feelings and emotions, highs and lows. I'm human as well. And I just want to be able to share that with the world. I just want to be, I'm going to. So I just want my music and, whatever else, just to be able to release how I'm feeling, all of my emotions, all of my feelings, all of my thoughts, my perspectives, all of that. So no, the answer is no. DFJR is not just a Christian artist or just does Christian music. I think I messed up the question. I do, but I don't at the same time, if I could use that answer. Simply because I am DFJR, and that is my Instagram. You can go ahead and follow me. But no, I am DFJR, which stands for my full name. Not my full name, but it stands for my name. If you don't know, Google it. No, if you don't know, DFJR is just my name abbreviated. My name is I'm named after my father. My name is Daryl Fletcher Jr. And growing up, I've always broken down my name into different people or whatever I said, personalities that I have. But, you know, I will say that DFJR, yes, it is a brand. Yes, it is, you know, it's how I'm presenting myself to the world. But I will say at the end of the day, at the core, it's Daryl. It's the musical little kid. It's the preaching little kid. It's the energetic little kid. It's the passionate guy. It's the loving guy, the caring guy. You know, even though it is the brand, it's a polished brand. It's a, you know, a tightened up brand. It's a brand that I have, you know, created, you know, through life experiences. But at the end of the day, again, at the core, you're going to get Daryl. At the end of the day, you're going to get Daryl Fletcher Jr. to be exact. And I just want people to understand that, like, just because the brand is DFJR doesn't mean it's this whole facade and this whole, he's still Daryl. But it has a look, it has a sound, it has a touch, it has a feel, it has a you know, it makes you feel a certain way when you experience DFJR. So I think I answered that question. How do I deal with it? How do I deal with people labeling and limiting me? The funny thing is, I don't think I've ever been labeled. I will say that transparently. I don't think I've ever been labeled. However, I do believe that I've been limited countless of times by people and myself. I think I've limited myself a lot more than others. Because if you know what goes on, and I'm sure all creatives understand, you know, and all humans, I'd even say, what that means to limit yourself and the battles and the conversations that we have on our own, against our own gifts, own talents, own creativities, own creations, all of that. So I definitely think that I have limited myself, which then, you know, other people's limits started to pile on top of that. But but I don't necessarily think I've ever been labeled. But the limit, yes, I have been limited, you know, in what I could do, what I couldn't do, how far people would let me go with my creativity and my ideas, and how far they wouldn't. But even in that, I'm grateful for those moments. So I learned how people operate, how people move, how people think. And that, again, all goes back to tying into help creating who DFJR is. But even with those limits, even with some of those limits, I have grown to take some of them off. I've grown to start to think outside the box, think outside of the limits, and understand that the sky ain't even the limit no more, you know, because even the sky is way, way too low. Shout out to Molly Music. But there's no limits. I understand that life from this moment on, for me, is limitless. There's no limit to what I can do. If I keep my mind straight, if I stay focused on who God has called me to be, limitless, you hear me? Endless, huh? You can't stop what God is doing, huh? I'm a freight train running with no brakes. But yeah, it's how do I deal with that? Listen, I just began to understand. That's, again, it's through life trials and tribulations and low moments, to where oftentimes they say that's when we run back to God the most. But even in that, I've learned to understand who He has called me to be and why I'm here. So understanding that and really spending time in His Word, not only His Word, amen, the Bible, but also His Word and what He said about you, which just so happens to be in the Word of God. But His Word, and, you know, standing rightfully and dressing yourself in what He's called you to be, you'll then begin to understand that you are limitless because we serve a limitless God. And I don't even want to get into all of that because I could talk about that for a minute. And we put so many limits on ourselves, but when you understand that we serve a limitless God, you then understand that you have the limitless power, you have the limitless ability. So that's how I dealt with it. I just kept, you know, understanding who He's called me to be, even when I didn't feel like it was good enough, or even when I, you know, didn't feel like I can do it. You know, I prayed, hey, God, take this feeling out of me. Take this, you know, feeling of I can't do this, or these limits, or these shackles, if you will, that I put on myself. And He's taking them off. And now I'm just walking in who He's called me to be. And nobody can stop me. What is DFJR? Because who and what are two different things. What is DFJR? That's a great question. DFJR is hope. DFJR is light. I will say that. LIGHT. DFJR is faith. I would say that DFJR is persistence. DFJR is not a brand. It's not just a brand. I would say it's not just a brand. It's a mindset. DFJR is a conglomerate and a whole mixture of life lessons. DFJR is lessons learned. I don't know if y'all got that. I don't know if that went over your heads, but all that to say, DFJR is like a detailed, orchestrated, if you could create a person, that you wanted to be. That's what DFJR is. I don't know if that was weird. But the next part was, why? Why the name? Funny story. So I had a friend a while back. And at that time, my Instagram name was I am Daryl Fletcher Jr., all the way spelled out. That's too many letters for people to understand, right? And I had all of my pictures, old videos from high school and stuff, middle school, just all up in the. It was no aesthetic. It was just not looking good. And my friend said, Daryl, you need to revamp your Instagram. Now this is just the story may be small, and some people may be like, Instagram, what does this have to do with me? But they said you need to revamp your Instagram. And so one night, I'm just sitting up, laying in my bed, scrolling in my Instagram, like, yeah, this is a little whack. And it just hits me, to change my Instagram name. But I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, how can I, make it smaller or easier for people to understand, and easier for people to catch? And I'm looking at my name, and I tried DLFJ. I'm like, nah. I tried, DFJ, nah. DJ, nah. And I looked at Daryl Fletcher Jr., and I just abbreviated it to, DFJR. And it kind of just started to stick. And so in that moment, I changed my Instagram name to I am DFJR. And what's crazy is, I deleted some pictures, tried to start to make an aesthetic. But what I did not understand was at that moment, DFJR was just being conceived. Because, at that moment, that's where, it was thought about, and that's where the idea came of, just as a Instagram page of how I should brand it and how it should look. I did not become DFJR recently until I'd say this year. DFJR was conceived years ago, and I switched the name, started, doing all that stuff, but he grew it became past the brand or just the brand, and it became me, which is where we get to who is DFJR. DFJR is a talented, gifted, anointed, passionate man of God, and who expresses his love for God in different various shapes and forms, whether it be through music, through media, through entertainment, through art. I ain't the best artist, but I can do a little something. But uses any and every gift that God has given him to do multiple things. Number one, bring souls to Christ. Number two, give people an experience like no other. Number three, to give people hope. Because there have been many times where I had none, but I still had faith and kept pushing through just to get to this moment of where I am now. Am I where I want to be? No. But I'm still on that track. So DFJR is exactly that. He is he's what the world needs, honestly. And I say that humbly. I say that humbly. But I really believe that God has gifted me with something that this world truly, truly, truly needs. And on this journey of becoming DFJR, all of that is unfolding. All of that is coming, into the light. So, who is DFJR? See, and he's a goofy. DFJR is goofy, bro. He's goofy, he's funny, he's talented, he's crazy, he's serious, he's emotional, he's a sensitive but strong guy. He's cool, he's chill, he's a whole bunch. He's a whole lot. And a lot of people can't handle it. A lot of people can't handle him. And that's okay. They just have, reached their capacity. But I will say, to answer the question, he's a culmination of all of these different seasons and lessons of life and people that I've met and nuggets that I've learned. And he's out of this world. He's crazy, he's dope, he's handsome, he is fine. Pause. So he's all of that, and I love him. He is him, I am he, and I am DFJR. And I'm so grateful for what this journey is going to unfold and teach me. And I hope you all are ready to join me on it, because it's about to be one heck of a ride. So sit back, relax, like my dad used to say, and enjoy the ride. Yeah, I'm glad of the man I'm becoming. I'm glad at the man that God is, pruning me and molding me to be. So to answer the question, who is DFJR? I am. So you want to know who is DFJR? I am.